Welcome to the VHF UHF channel, and someone asked an interesting question while I was reading the comments, and it's about the fact that solar activity is slowly picking up, as we're going to solar cycle 25, and asked if solar activity had an effect on the frequencies above 30 megahertz. And yes, it does, but it depends on the frequency you're going to listen to. What is happening is we tend to think of shortwave as 3 to 30 megahertz. And for a lot of people, that 30 megahertz is like a barrier. It's like, oh, well, it ends at 30. And so above 30, shortwave effects don't exist. While they actually do. So shortwave is really a specific frequency range. But the propagation effects that we see on shortwave are not only on shortwave. So as we have more sunspots and more solar activity, like the solar flux now has reached 90, one of the things that will happen is the more active the sun is, the more chances, especially I would say that VHF low band, the 30 megahertz up to 54 megahertz 6 meter band, the more chances they will actually propagate a little bit like shortwave does. Why? Because the more activity, the denser is the ionosphere, and that means it also will be able to beam back down frequencies that are higher than 30 megahertz. So that reflection will happen. And actually, in the peaks of solar activity, we've seen very often 6 meters open on just solar activity. No special other effects, no sporadic E-skip. The more active the sun is, the higher in frequency that effect goes. But it will actually stop at a certain frequency range. You won't see that type of propagation, for example, on 2 meters, 140 megahertz. That's starting to get too high. These frequencies tend to really go through and pass through the ionosphere. But definitely the 30 to 54 megahertz range often will have that effect. So when activity picks up, I suggest that everybody scan from 30 to 54. I think you'd be surprised what you can hear. Personally, every time there was high solar activity when we were at solar maximums, I've often heard a lot of activity of signals that were skipping from 30 to 54 megahertz, just with the fact of having high solar flux index. So it does have an effect there, but the higher you go, the less of an effect, and it kind of stops at a certain level where, usually there's nothing much happening after, we pass a certain threshold in frequency. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.